What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Cars But No Coffee. Sorry for the just lack in uploading recently. I've just been prioritizing other things, honestly, so I need to get back to YouTube. So stay tuned. I'm definitely going to be uploading more videos. I have a lot of content on this car and just car stuff in general, so just stay tuned for that. But this video, I'm going to be talking about why I sold my Mustang GT and then went to the Shelby GT350 here behind me. So I don't think I ever made a video on really why I sold the Mustang, and you can see obviously some of my older videos, you can see the Mustang I had. So I don't think I even made a video on selling that Mustang. I did make a video on buying the Shelby. We flew to Virginia. My wife and I flew to Virginia and then drove it back like 600 miles. So if you want to check out that video, you can click the link above or whatever. Today I want to just talk about why I sold the Mustang and bought this. So just to give you a little background, the Mustang was a 2020 Mustang GT. It was in Twister Orange and it had the Performance Pack Level 1. And it was also a 10-speed automatic car, and it was basically fully loaded, had the digital dash, leather, heated and cooled seats. It did not have Magna-Ride, so that was one of the few options it didn't have, but I mean it had basically all the options you could get in a 5.0 in 2020. But yeah, to the reasons I sold the car. The first reason was the transmission. So the 10-speed automatic, before I bought that car, first of all, that was my first performance car. I had a 2007 Honda CR-V before that. So that was really my first performance car, really fast, somewhat fast car. So I had never owned a manual, so that was part of the reason why I went with the automatic. But another reason why I went with the automatic was all the issues I heard from the MT82, the 6-speed manual transmission in the Mustang GT, right? So the Shelby has the Tremec 6-speed. It's still 6-speed manual, but it's from Tremec. So, and everyone loves the transmission on this car. But that was one of the main reasons I went with switching to this, was a transmission. I wanted a manual. I just wanted to feel more connected with the car. And I drove my friends' cars a few times, and they have some manual cars, and it was just so much fun. Like, even I wasn't pushing the car or anything like that because I was still very new to it and learning. But I mean, it was just so fun every time I drove it. Like, you just felt connected with the car and really felt more in control of the car than you would in an automatic transmission car. So that was one of the main reasons I switched to the Shelby. And then another reason I switched was the handling. The handling on this is just light years above the Mustang GT. And I don't think I said it before, I apologize. This is a 2017 Shelby GT350. But the handling on this car versus the Mustang, it's like there's just no comparison. Maybe if you had the Performance Pack 2 Mustang, you could compare that to this. And then the Mach 1 is, I think, definitely comparable to this, the suspension. But the Mustang GT, even with the Performance Pack Level 1, it's just light years different. There's so much more body roll in that car. And to be fair, I didn't have the Magna-Ride on the 5.0, so keep that in mind. I didn't have that. That's one of the only options I didn't have. But I mean, just light years different. The body roll is just so much more. When I say body roll, I'm talking about like when you're on a turn. So say you're going like on a left-hand turn, so you're going like this. got the steering wheel here, you feel the whole car leaning like to the right side, which is natural. Like the weight when you're taking a turn like that, like when you're taking a left-hander turn. And when I say this, I'm not talking about like at an intersection left turn. Obviously, I'm talking about like on a windy road or on the track. If you're taking a corner or a turn that's going left, and you know, you have a steering wheel turn, you're giving that steering input. You feel all the weight going to your right side, which is natural. That's how it's supposed to be, obviously, when you're on that turn like that. But in the 5.0, it was just like you felt yourself leaning, like, and you just felt the whole car like just kind of leaning that way. And that way there was a lot of body roll. Like in this car, like you could take if you take a turn at the same speed in a 5.0 and this car just feels like planted. Like it feels like there's barely any body roll. Like if you would be going the same speed, like let's say you're going 50 on a turn, right, on some like long windy road, in the 5.0 you would feel it like just leaning heavily to the right side and all that. In this car, like it would just feel like it was nothing. Like the turn, you feel like barely any weight going to the right side. But on the 5.0, like everything is leaning. And then like even, you know, like straight shot, like accelerations, just going in a straight line, you can just feel the whole car, like the front of the 5.0 just kind of lifts up and then it just goes, right? Like it squats back because the weight goes to the back, which is how it's supposed to be. But you just feel that way more in the 5.0 versus like this thing. So the suspension was a big part because I started getting into just driving on mountain roads. I live in Georgia, and North Georgia, we have some amazing mountain roads. So we're also super close. We're not super close. We're near the tail of the dragon, like 2.5 hours away or so. But we have some beautiful roads up here in North Georgia. So I just got more interested in driving on windy roads. And the 5.0 just was not doing it well there. I just wanted something that could handle a lot better, and I didn't want to. I bought the 5.0 brand new in 2020, so I didn't want to do all the suspension stuff and mess with all that. I still had warranty, and I just didn't want to spend all that money because I mean I bought it new as well, so it'd just be a lot of money. So that was one of the reasons I made the switch. Like I just got more interested in, I wanted to go to the track. I never took the 5.0 to the track. I've only taken this thing once, but I just wanted a better handling car, and I didn't want to do all this work for right then. I knew if I bought this car, obviously this is more expensive, but I was getting the manual, and then the suspension, like it was really good just from factory. Like I don't think I really am gonna do much to this. We'll see obviously down the line, but as of now, like it just handles, the handling is just light years above the 5.0. So I love that about this. This also has the Recaro seats. I needed the Recaros in this car just because of how the leather seats felt. They have some good bolstering on the sides rather than the leather seats in the 5.0, which were kind of like there's almost no bolstering. So when you're taking those turns hard, like in the mountains and all that, like you feel the whole, like you're sliding and all that. Like luckily, especially as a passenger, you're sliding. Luckily as a driver, I have the steering wheel, and it was an automatic, so I would just put my left foot would just be where the dead pedal is, like all the way to the left side where your left foot can rest. I would just be like pressing on that hard. I'd be on the steering wheel just like holding on for dear life, because not literally for dear life, but I mean when you're driving kind of hard and like on those turns, you know, you just feel all the weight shifting in the 5.0. So I was like, I need to get better seats. Like I really wanted to work, and this came with the option of Recaros or those same, maybe not the same, but very similar leather heated and cooled seats, and I was like, I need the bolstering, so I got the Recaros in this. I just got way more interested in mountain driving and wanting to go to the track and all that, and I just found I just liked driving on windy roads more than I did just fast in a straight line. So that was one of the biggest reasons I switched from the 5.0 to this. And then Honestly, those were the two biggest reasons. I knew when I bought this car, it was gonna the handling and suspension was gonna be great from factory. So I didn't want to mess with all that stuff too much. So that was another big reason I bought this car. I think some other things were this is still an S550, meaning S550 is just kind of like the this this body style Mustang. This has been out since 2015, and now it's 2022. It was easy for me to switch to this from the Mustang too. I think one time when I was talking to a friend, he spoke some really good truths. He was basically just saying like it's a lot easier for us to switch, like for car people to switch to another car when it's in a similar platform. So like for example, like if you're into BMWs, like it's a lot easier for you to jump from like a regular like F33 series or whatever. Just using my friend as an example, but F33 series to an M3, right? M3, M4, M2, whatever. Like I think it's easy for us to stay in our communities and kind of what we're familiar with and what we kind of know. Same thing for me. Like I switched from a Mustang to a higher level Mustang, obviously. So I think that was nice too. There were some parts I could take, which was a huge plus. Like these like rear side markers. Like that's a really small example. Interior LED lights, black lug nuts, and just stuff like that. Like I knew I could just take. The floor mats would fit perfectly because it's still a Mustang inside, and there were just a lot of things like that as well, which made it easier. That I was just familiar with the platform, so I could take my parts that I added to the Mustang and put it on here. And then I think I've always wanted a Mustang, so that's why I got the Mustang GT. And then I always wanted a Shelby. Like even on the, I think I said it before, I had a 2007 Honda CR-V. It's dumb, but I got these magnets from Hobby Lobby, and they're literally the like white and black Shelby Cobra logos. So I got 3 of those, and I put this is on the 2007 Honda CR-V, a black Honda CR-V. I put them like where they would go on a Shelby, right? So I put them like say for example like on like where that GT350 logo is on this car. I'd put it there, and then on the other side I'd put one, and then the last badge I wouldn't put anything in the front, I couldn't. And then the last badge I'd put somewhere in the back, in the rear, so like next to CR-V or something stupid like that. Obviously, I don't consider that outbadging. I literally think that's trolling. But you can judge me on that. But I think like I've always wanted a Shelby. That's just a good example of like why I've always wanted a Shelby. So obviously I had that car before the 5.0, but I think in the back of my mind I've always wanted a Shelby as well. And I know before you start commenting, oh, like this isn't a true Shelby, I know it's not like a true Shelby, but to me it's still, obviously it's Shelby. It's called a Shelby GT350. I know Ford got the licensing or whatever for them to call it a Shelby. It's not coming from Shelby American, I know. Don't crucify me in the comments for saying that. But I mean, it is a Shelby to me, and I really wanted a Shelby, right? So that the CR-V, a funny situation, whatever, just shows that. But yeah, I think the 2 biggest things were wanting a manual transmission and then just wanting better suspension from factory. Exhaust note, I love the 5.0's exhaust note. I put a Corsa Extreme on it, so it honestly was similar to this, to the exhaust note that comes from this. Because this is definitely more, this is just definitely more raspy and more high pitched than the Mustang GT's stock exhaust sounds. So yeah, I mean those were the 2 biggest reasons. The exhaust wasn't really a huge thing for me. I did love the sound that this exhaust made, so that was another plus. But yeah, I mean, I love the look of the 5.0, but I love the look of this as well. it is different. It is a little different front because the 2018s and above GT Mustang, sorry, they have like the angled headlights. So this one still has the older style taillights, or older style, actually taillights too, but older style headlights. So I still like this. I love how this car looks. I loved how the 5.0 looked too. But yeah, I think this just was the right move for me. And I sold the Mustang GT back in January of this year, so January 2022. And I think it was just the right time too, because I was getting more money for that car. The market was still like post-COVID, it was still pretty high for the car. But the thing is, like, you do pay more for the new car as well, like, right? If in that market, it almost like cancels out. But this car, I got a good deal on it. And I sold my car for more, so it just kind of worked out in a way where I was able to make this switch, and super grateful that I was able to do that. You know, I'm grateful I had the experiences I had with the 5.0. And I don't regret going from the, you know, buying the 5.0 and then going to this. Like, I bought this car maybe like a year and a half after I had the 5.0, so I sold it after like a year and a half. I don't really regret going from that to this, because I would never appreciate this car as much, especially like the handling and what it's capable of, if I didn't have the 5.0 before this. Like, 5.0 was a great car. I loved it, loved how it looked and all that stuff, but I definitely wouldn't appreciate this car as much if I didn't have the 5.0. And I think the 5.0 was just a good, just kind of introduction for me into sports cars and performance cars, and kind of figuring out what I liked. And, you know, what I liked was the mountain driving, just driving on twisty, windy roads, and then taking to the track more. And when I say like racetrack, I don't mean the drag strip. Like, I mean like a track with like elevation changes, and then also like obviously some tight corners and all that stuff. So yeah, I think those were the two biggest reasons I made the switch, and definitely happy I made the switch. I don't regret buying this car and selling the 5.0. I do miss the 5.0. I mean, I was just looking back at pictures a few days ago, and it looked so clean. It was a twister orange, so it was great. It was like the perfect car for the fall time, because it had that bright orange color. But I love this car. I love that car too, but I'm glad I made the decision I did. But yeah, that's really all I had for this video. Thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully I didn't go too over on this and spend way too much time, but just stay tuned for more content. If you have any video ideas and just want to get my perspective on things, feel free to leave some comments. Thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned just for more videos.